What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's video. This week we're going to be getting the transfer case ready to bolt in. We are going to be running the NP242. This is out of like your mid-90s. ZJ, I think some XJs had them as well. There's a 242J version and a 242 HD version. The HD usually came behind the V8s. This is the J model. So because it is the J model, it comes with a 27 spline output shaft. Now, we're going to be running obviously the 5.7 Hemi. These FSJs are not light. And so we needed to do a slip yoke eliminator anyway. And you got two options. You've got the hack and tap, and you've got the Tom Woods kit that we have here. The hack and tap is about half the price. It's about 200 bucks. And you essentially just cut off the 27 spline shaft. You drill it. It comes with a new housing, new seal. You drill, tap, put a new yoke, and you're still running a 27 spline output shaft. Most people with XJs, ZJs have wheeled those things for years, say they're fine, they're plenty strong, and it probably would have been fine. But I've been looking at, like, we got a lot of weight here, we got a lot of power here. So this kit right here is like $475. So it's almost twice as much. Well, it is twice as much, a little over twice as much. But the peace of mind, knowing that we are going from a 27 spline up to a 32 spline. So we got a much bigger output shaft going to be here, and the yoke is going to bolt here much stronger, the way that the yoke is going to fasten up. So this is what you get in the kit. You get a new housing with a bearing already installed. You get speedo drive, you've got seals, new nuts, snap rings, stuff like that in there. You got your instructions, a catalog, and a sticker. So this is all. We're gonna have to separate the transfer case. It's not too hard of a job. Just reading through the instructions doesn't look like it's a hard thing to do. Most people say that the hack and tap is far more stressful because you're cutting the shaft on your output on your transfer case. But they say this one seems like it's more, but it's easier. I've never done one of these before, so this will be the first one. But it doesn't look hard. I've rebuilt the whole 4-speed on my Super B, so it can't be any more than that. But anyway. So we're going to get the transfer case busted apart and walk you through putting this kit in. All right, so once you get your 3 bolts and your housing off, you got a snap ring here, or C-clip, whatever title everybody calls them by. I got these old duck bill, whatever you want to call these pliers, but they're for getting in there. I hate these things. All right, so now that's all done, we got to undo these 4 bolts here to get the speedometer housing off. Y'all forgive my table. I know it wobbles around a lot. I think it's fine. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere, but it's the only clean table I got in the whole entire shop. That's kind of an issue. I don't think just in my shop, but anybody's shop. Alright, I had to put it down on the floor to be able to get the housing off, but there's the old housing. Won't be using that no more. I will have to get this out, but you got to move a snap ring here, and then this should all come off. We've got a snap ring here. This is just old dried up assembly grease, looks like, but we'll get all that cleaned up. Pull the C-clip here, and that will allow us to get this main shaft out, and that's what we'll be replacing, this shaft here. All right, so we have one snap ring. This gear that was on the front, snap ring was here. Keep this stuff in order, this washer, snap ring. There's another snap ring in here now that we got to get out, and that will let the main shaft come out. And then the sucky part. I think there's 50 something needle bearings in here that you have to keep up with, but you know, wasn't no problem. The A833 4 speeds, oh man, the needle bearing issues in them is fun, but we got grease, we'll get it in there. So I'm gonna pop this snap ring out, and we'll get this all slid out and go from there. I need to go get some brake clean though, so I can clean up a lot of this stuff. It's been sitting for a while. All right, there's all your needle bearings. You can see I had dropped a few. I had a few come off, but they're all there, except for, you know, that's the ones that fell off. So be aware of that. I think there's 53 of them, so keep up with them. All right, so here you can see a side-by-side comparison, just in terms of size. Essentially, how much beefier the new unit is. It's also shorter, obviously, because it's going on. So, you know, all in all, obviously beefier. So that's it for disassembly. Now we're just gonna clean everything up, and I've got some grease up there that's for needle bearings and stuff in transmission, so I'm just gonna use that. It's just kind of a medium strength grease. We'll get the needle bearings onto here. And this hole is a hole that's in this table. I had to change tables. This one was making me too nervous, so I had this one stored over. That hole was from when I rebuilt the transmission in my car, so I could stick the main shaft down in there, and the transmission would stay straight up for detailing and reassembly, whatever else I was doing. So that's what that hole's there for. So it actually worked. It worked out for doing transfer cases as well. All right, there it all is back together. I didn't video putting the snap rings and all that back in because that's pretty basic, you know, whatever stuff. This is what I use for the needle bearings. It's just a transmission assembly lube. I think I got from Brewers. I know I did back whenever I was putting my 4-speed together. So it's just a general grease to use to hold the needle bearings in, but they stayed in really easy. Slid the main shaft back in, C-clip on this side, C-clip here after you put this gear in. Keep your thrust washer and all that stuff in order, the way it comes off. They tell you all this in the instructions. So now we put our other sprocket in the chain, slide it all back on, and we're going back in the case. So we got to put a snap ring there. Slide your speedo gear on. Then you get another snap ring. It's gonna go up here to hold that one on. Don't forget that, because I almost did. I was just about to put the housing on and realized, hey, might ought to put that in. Everything is just gotta, I just use old gray. I had it left over gasket maker for gear oil. I'm not gonna run gear oil in this, but I had it. So just any kind of ultra gray, ultra black, any of them. works fine for this. So I'm gonna put all my bolts in here and tap our seal in, and then we'll be ready for the yoke. All right, back a couple of years ago, I'll say a couple of years, it might have been about 2 years now, I'd fixed the transfer case leak on Termite's original transfer case. So all of these are essentially the same. Anytime that you have a slip yoke, you've got your splines, you've got this little rubber washer that goes in here to help seal, but it's always a good idea to take a little bit of RTV and just put it in the back side of this. Now you can put it in the front, put it wherever. I don't put much, just kind of smear it, because all this is going to be is a extra seal, extra bit of protection, just to keep oil from creeping past these splines, especially when they get a lot of miles on them. So just pack a little bit down in there, and when you go, obviously get brake cleaner or something to clean the oil out of the splines. But when you push it in there, it will push out. You can see how it bunched out around it like that. That's good. So now we just take our rubber washer, and usually I put a little bit on the back side of it, but and then I put some on the nut, but slide our rubber washer in there and get it right. I'm gonna have to get a screwdriver where I can push it, but anyway, rubber washer, slide in there, and then I'll take on the back side of my new nut and I'll rub RTV back here as well. And all of that is gonna do is just help seal this thing off a lot better. All right, so now we've moved around to the front. We've got the front seal off to the input shaft. Went and got a new seal, got this already pressed in there. So rub a little smear RTV. What you want to do is make sure though that you do get your oil passage notch lined up with your hole. Don't just throw this back on there. I always want to make sure that you get that oil hole lined up with that dude right there, so that you don't dry this thing out. All right, it's a new day in the shop. Transfer cases together. I don't know if I said this yesterday when I was filming, but I went through all the gears. Everything's good to go. It does everything it's supposed to be doing. So got a new seal in the front. Everything is tightened down, torqued, everything's ready to go. So now I'm gonna get Termite up in the air a little bit higher. And the other day when we test fitted, we just did it on the ground. Andrew and I lay in there just trying to pick a thing up, and it was super hard to try to hold that thing up on the ground. Just couldn't really get good leverage and all this kind of stuff. So my plan is we're gonna get it up in the air, and I'll just bring the same table, set it under there where we can just pick it up and hopefully slide it in and get this thing in Termite off the floor, and be one more thing that we can check off the list, because then we can kind of start running fuel lines and getting all that stuff done. So I'm waiting on her to get back from town, so I'm gonna go ahead and get Termite up in the air, get everything moved under there, and we'll be waiting on her. Progress. The torque converter is bolted in and torqued, and got the cover plate on. That's all good. And we've got the transfer cases in. So there's 2 bolts that are still under here that you have to remove the trans mount to get to. And I kind of forgot about those. But as you can see, our trans pan is smashed in there pretty hard. So I gotta pull the trans pan off anyway and put a new pan. I was gonna take off anyway to change the filter and all that kind of good stuff. So when I do that, I'll probably just brace the whole thing up, take the whole cross member back out, just a couple of bolts, change the pan, tighten those 2 bolts up, and then just put it all back in. It won't be that big of a deal. So I'll do all that then. So anyway, so yeah, we are got a good little bit accomplished this morning. Got a few things buttoned up, wrapped up, and I'm switching gears now back into fab work because, as you guys will see, I guess maybe the next video, I'm having to build a skid plate for the gas tank. Our other one was rotted. That's what's kind of left of it here. I've been chopping on it, but anyway, our skid plate was in bad shape. You guys will see that next week. It was bad shape, as most of them are. So I'm building a skid plate. So having fun doing that. So I'm switching gears now. Finna get back into that, cutting and welding, and done with my mechanicking for the day. So give us a like and a subscribe, guys. Please do that. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram. We're there as well. Got stickers, all that kind of good stuff on our website. Other than that, guys, we will see you next week.